Okay, let's move on the novation agreement.
Yeah. So this one, novation agreement is awesome. I haven't yet jumped into that one. So
Okay.
my experience on novation agreement is basically off of my other friends who are doing it because I haven't done one of those. But the way the concept is simple is that you go into a property, a seller who has a nice property, and you say, hey, listen, let's go ahead and let me buy this property, right? And again, they want something really high. And they say, you know what? I can't do that, right? Because the price is expensive. But I'll tell you what we can do. If we use an example, house, they're looking to sell the home for $500,000. You had offered 370K. Really not going to work for them. But you realize that property is worth more like 700 grand. Okay,
Wow.
let's just say that. You're like, okay, great. What we can do is we'll partner. A novation is like a partner. So we'll have an agreement to say, I don't need to buy the house for you, but I will fund and do all the renovations to the property. So by funding and doing the renovations to the property at the sale of the property, then you'll take the amount of money that we agreed upon, and then whatever is above that is what I would keep. So it allows you to partner up with the seller in the format of doing a flip.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes total sense. Do you know what kind of documentation surrounds that to make sure that they don't become a pain in the butt partner that says, well, I don't want to sell now or something like that?
Yeah, so you just put a lien on the property.
Okay.
I'll put a lien quickly.
Like
put
a
lien
mechanic
on there.
lien?
Correct, right? So that you were paid first if they ever did sell later on down the road.
Gotcha. So you do that before any bad feelings come up. That's just
correct.
A part of the
I would do it and been taught the same way that 100% you're going to put a mechanic lien on the property before sell. At sell, you're getting your money regardless, right? So if they're just now taking care of that lien, well, that's what you're due to do anyway, right? And in addition, whatever's above is what you've been taking as well. So that's the way to keep yourself out of some bad doo-doo.
I like it. So again, though, you want a real estate attorney that's versed on creative financing and not just basic buy the book. This is a traditional buy and purchase or sell and purchase. So yeah, okay. It's all about your team. If you got the right team,
it's 100% your team. It's 100% your team. Getting the right people in your corner to make this happen.
So seller financing, tell me about, you got a case study on that example you can give us?
Yeah. I'm actually, like I said, I'm still here at the restaurant. I was just meeting with him. We had spoken for about 2 hours. So basically, this is 10 single family houses here in Houston, Texas. The owner has bought the properties for $75,000 a pop. So it's about $750K for these properties. Properties now appraised for more like 2.6 together. All right. So we have a couple of problems with that though, unfortunately, right? So he has no mortgage, which is great. But the only issue that we're having now is that you're going to pay long-term capital gains on that, right? So when you do sell those properties, you have to pay taxes.
Right.
And worst of all, if you sell all of it in 1 year, you're just going to substantially increase your income, right? So that's going to be really bad. Not to mention, there's a couple other things too. Properties are aging. The market we're on a decline right now. So he's not getting the numbers that he wants. So there's quite a bit of things that say, darn, I got to do something, but I don't know what to do better. So now we come with seller finance. Seller finance allows him to do what? Now he's able to sell the property at an agreed upon rate that he probably wouldn't get on the normal market. Yep. Number one. It allows him to negotiate down payment, interest rate, balloon period, amortization schedule, the amount that he received monthly, all of that. So there's so much in the negotiation. We are negotiating no interest for religious reasons. So that's definitely a benefit to me, but also a benefit to him. But also we are negotiating points where he can get a certain amount of cash up front. I think Chris, we were at when Place Morby was mentioning the transaction coordination side.
Yep.
Transaction lender. Yeah, transaction lender side. So now I have a way to give him $1 million up front, right? Because it's $2 million is what we negotiated. So up front, I give him $1 million in cash, basically liquidating some of his equity, and then the rest of it amortizing. So that's how we're looking at doing it. But there's no way you would have done this with a bank. You can't do this with a bank. And especially when interest rates right now are 6% and 7%, and they're looking to go close to 8 or 9 by the end of the year. So this right here is probably the most strategic and beneficial way of buying real estate now for the next, I want to say 18 months. This is how people are going to be buying. And it's just the way to do it. So looking to take this properties now, I already did a whole presentation with them. Spoke to him for about an hour and a half, just shooting the shit. Man, we had a great time, man. It's got a great time. So it's been good.
Explain to me the transactional funding, because what I took away from that at the meeting is, let's say that we've got a seller that's wanting to do a seller carryback. So just for simple numbers, they're not realistic by any means, but simple numbers, you got $100,000 house you're purchasing, and the seller is going to carry back that 20% that the bank is requiring as a down payment. So the bank's going to fund 80,000. Your obligation is 20,000 as a down payment to show you got skin in the game. So you tell the seller, hey, would you do a seller carryback at maybe for a year, 2 years, whatever the case would be. And then you negotiate that interest rate, if there is any interest rate. And then at closing, you use transactional funding. So the transactional funder is going to put that 20,000 in escrow for your down payment. The buyer, me, my down payment. And then that's going to be paid off by the seller once we go to close, and his money's going to sit in escrow, and he'll have a deed of trust as a second on that property. So the bank's got the first on the 80, he's got the second on the 20, but all I did was do smoke and mirrors with transactional funding so that the bank didn't say, yo, you don't have skin in the game, we're not going to do this deal. Also, if they were not cool with the second on the property, then you can just build an LLC that incorporates him in as a 20% partner on that property with the terms spelled out in the LLC, the operating agreement. So my question is, how are you doing your transactional funding for this $1 million?
Okay, so we're doing the same thing without any lender. So in your example, you had the 80%, but was going to be that is situation. But instead, he said, I'm willing to do 50% carryback, but also I need some money. So essentially what I'm trying to do is have him formulate 100% carryback. But just smoke and mirrors wise, I'm going to end up utilizing transactional funding to give him that $1 million he needs. But in the terms of when it comes out, he's going to basically make another note for $1 million.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is. So it's a note for $2 million, but you don't want to, it's essentially going to be two separate notes, but
it's two different notes.
It's two different notes, but at the same time, it's going to the same person. So it doesn't make a difference. He's going to be secondary to himself. If that makes sense, right?
Right.
But it allows him to basically get that 1 million. So the $1 million is already came in cash, and I'm going to be able to make the payments on it. And mind you, again, this is no interest on both of them. So that's how that works.